The Nissan Patrol was born out of necessity. Nissan needed a vehicle that can cross anything, go anywhere, and climb any mountainous terrain. Now, over the years, it's built up in power, luxury, but most importantly, gravitas. And gravitas is exactly what the Nissan Patrol has in our full review of the Nissan Patrol. Now guys, I have to admit, I did you guys a disservice. When we were reviewing all these cars the past few years, I thought you guys all wanted something that's more economical, something that's more practical for everyday use. Little did I know that there is this particular part of the market that wants exactly this. Something that's a little bit more overkill, something that actually builds more to their current stature in society, and that's what we have right here with the Nissan Patrol. You got chrome everywhere. I mean, this pretty much looks like a wrapper with its chrome grille up and in ya. You got these horizontal slats right here, the all-new Nissan badge, a camera that works with a 360-degree camera system, and Nissan's intelligent mobility system. The front end of the Nissan Patrol is definitely something that exudes more than power, again, more than luxury. Like I said, ultimate gravitas and appeal. Heading over to the side of the Nissan Patrol, you wouldn't be having an idea of how large these wheels actually are. In fact, these are 20-inch alloy wheels riding on highway terrain tires, which means this is one really big boy. I mean, look at the size of this thing, plus the height. This is definitely an NBA player's height right here. This is definitely no slouch, no tiny Tim on the road at all. You got that V8 badge right there, which again belies the fact that this has a V8 under the hood. One of the last few, in fact, the last full-size SUV in the market with a V8 right there, a naturally aspirated V8. And this is something that we're really gonna miss with the Patrol in case it does get updated in the future. You got this Patrol badging right here on the side, a huge chunky step board. This, by the way, has four-wheel ventilated disc brakes, which is something that you really need, especially with the fact that this weighs 3,500 kilograms. With something that heavy and that fast, you need great brakes as well. I love the fact that you've got some privacy glass right here on the rear end as well, and you've got this nice chunky roof rail on top. There really isn't much drama here to the side profile of the Patrol. You won't see any sharp creases and character lines except this high belt line on the side. Man, the V8 Patrol is definitely something that you guys would miss, and if you don't get it right now, you're definitely going to miss out. Now, one thing that really ties the Nissan Patrol with the rest of the Nissan trucks and SUV lineup are these C-shaped tail lamps and the C-shaped headlamps right there on the front. Definitely gives you a lot of the Nissan Terra and Nissan Navara vibes, and the Big Daddy has it here as well. You got this chrome strip running all the way around the back of the Nissan Patrol. One thing that I would notice right here, though, is that the camera seems to be a little offset to the left side, which means it's a little bit detrimental, especially if you're bringing this to tow a lot of things. I mean, you got your tow hook right here in the middle. It just make a lot of sense to put that right here in the middle as well, so that you can actually monitor your whatever you're towing right there in the back. But I guess it is what it is. You have more sensors right here on the side, these huge rear windshield right here, as well as a large spoiler on top. Again, LED tail lamps here, and of course, a power tailgate. I mean, it opens up a little bit slowly, but if you press this up right here, it actually speeds up a little bit. There you go. Now, once you open up this huge, humongous tailgate, it gives you access to all this space inside. Even though you have the third row seats up, you still have more than about 420 or 450 liters of space, which is insane. I mean, even though you got all your rear passengers right here, if you need to put in their luggage, it'll fit in here without any problems. And if you need even more space, you can fold these seats down. It'll fold flat and get more space right there. And you can even fold those seats right there and give you even more massive space, about more than 2,000 liters or so of space. You got a 12-volt power socket here in the back. That is definitely helpful for the rear passengers if they need to get more power, if you're going having a tailgate party or whatnot. A couple of gripes with this particular Patrol. It definitely is showing his age a little bit, because while other SUVs, even mid-sized SUVs, will have some sort of button right here to fold these rear seats down in a power function, now you'll have to pull on these latches so that you can get that space that you need. I won't pull. Let's pull that later on. There you go. That's all well and good, but if you need to pull them back up, though, you'll have to go inside and then pull that right up, right back up. Now, overall, the exterior of the Nissan Patrol isn't going to wow a lot of people because of its character lines, its edges, its curves. It will definitely wow a lot of people, though, because of its massive and humongous size. It's definitely one of the larger SUVs on the road right now, and I can't believe it comes from a Japanese brand like Nissan. All right, so that's enough for that. Let's take a look at the inside and see what luxury amenities this Patrol has to offer us. All right, so inside the Nissan Patrol, it absolutely screams top of the line when it comes to Japanese SUVs. I mean, you've got leather everywhere. You got these nice soft touch leather right here on the door cards as well as on the seats. I mean, it's pretty plush inside. Even this huge center armrest. I'm not actually going to call this a center armrest. It pretty much looks like a table. And inside that table, got this huge cubby hole for all your stuff. Plus, you can even cool it down. It's pretty much a cooler right there inside. So if you got your non-alcoholic drinks, you can put it inside there. And maybe for the rear passengers, they can put their alcoholic drinks, but only for the rear passengers. You got a huge 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system here with wireless Apple CarPlay, but wired Android Auto, which is quite a bummer, to be honest. But I don't even use those wireless protocols anyway, so which is fine. Now, one thing about this screen, though, is that when you were accessing Android Auto, you only have this part of the screen right here, about 2/3 of the screen dedicated for your infotainment. And then this side can be either a clock or indicator, which I think might be a little, might be a short miss on their end. But at least the screen is nice and responsive. It has a good resolution to it, and you can find all your settings right here, even to control your Nissan Intelligent Mobility settings. So that's absolutely fine. And it's easy to connect your phone to it as long as you just connect your USB port to it. It's going to go ahead and do the Android Auto or Apple CarPlay automatically. And even if you don't connect it, it will connect your phone through Bluetooth automatically. Now, it's a nice touch of new school and old school, because you've got these manual or this analog gauge cluster right here, and a small multi-information display there where you can actually check out multiple details about your drive, actually even more so than any than any other Nissan right now, because you got your home button, your home screen, your speed, trip information, fuel economy, and even a compass right there on the middle, as well as other off-road settings for you to tinker and play with. Also, you can actually find a compass right here on the rear view mirror. Now, one thing about the interior, though, it definitely shows its age compared to other SUVs in the market, but it still exudes a sense of class and luxury because of the leather right here on the center console. And I think this is a good compromise for people who don't like piano black. What they have here, though, instead is this plastic that kind of mimics a wood trim, a wood material, and kind of looks like upholstery. If we're being honest, it has this pattern to it. So even though you smudge it with your greasy chicken wing fingers, it doesn't show up as easily as on the piano black that's right here on the screen. All right, another thing that I appreciate about having this old school kind of setup are these physical volume knobs. I've been driving a lot of cars the past few months where you'll actually just have capacitive buttons, or worse, no volume knobs or volume buttons at all. This one is easy to reach, and that is perfectly fine. Now, this thing does have 3-zone climate control. You can actually just set it up right here for your side, the front passenger, and the rear passengers. They do have their own control settings right there to control the fan and the temperature of the air conditioning coming out. My favorite part about this, the Nissan Patrol, though, are these memory seats. Now, I mean, what's so special about memory seats, right? And it has this cool feature where you can actually set this up, and not just your seats. Your seats are not just going to adjust itself, but the steering wheel as well. So let's see how another driver would set up their seats. Okay. All right. So as apparently the previous driver of this one though has a lower than usual steering wheel, so it kind of drives like a bus driver right here. This is my setting right here. There we go. So it gives me a commanding view of the road a little bit, and I have my steering wheel on my wrists, making it easy to flick around. So that is nice. This is a very comfortable way. So I think it's a nifty feature in my opinion, and I think a lot of cars, especially in this price point, should adopt. It doesn't have a panoramic sunroof, but to be honest, this is just perfectly fine. I mean, you're not going to be wowing a lot of people. I mean, the Nissan Patrol isn't out here to wow you with gimmicks and all. This is all they need to make sure that everything is fine. There are a lot more things here that I want to talk about. For example, cup holders. I mean, usually the cup holders is a more of a domain when it comes to more American cars and all that. But thankfully, the bottle holders right here on the side can actually fit this huge bottle right here. There we go, no problems. And cups that are actually small enough to hold a small coffee, because you got these latches here on the side. More of that wood, fall wood trim right here. You even have your drive selector here. No, everything is easy and within reach. I mean, you don't have to dig through the menu settings just to change your drive mode. You got 4H and 4L and auto. So this is a four-wheel drive system. You won't find any 2H here. All you gotta do is set it up to auto, and it'll handle that for you. But if you need even more traction or more off-roady goodness, there are a couple of settings here. You got on-road, sand, snow, rock, and even a downhill assist crawl mode, as well as a rear locking differential. So yes, like I said earlier, the Nissan Patrol was born out of necessity. The Nissan needed a car that can go anywhere, and even though this car is more of a luxury car at this time, it still has a little bit of off-roading chops. Now the screen is large and nice and all, but it is kind of far away, which is absolutely right, because if you're a driver, you don't want to be fiddling around with the screen. So thankfully, they have this particular rotary dial right here. It's kind of like a joystick where you can actually control where you need to go in the screen, and you can just press whatever you need. And the camera button for the 360-degree camera system is there as well, which is nice. Inside this latch, you can find what is a wireless charger. So if you have a phone that has wireless charging, you just put it right there and it will charge. You have a 12-volt socket right there, and you can shut it down so that you can make sure that you won't be distracted by any of your phone dealies while you're driving, or you can just hide it from the world. Maybe if you have a second phone, you can hide it right there, and it is charging. You got two USB ports. At least it's got one USB-C and one USB-A. This, by the way, is an 8-seater SUV. So we'll be checking that out, the third row, later on after we check out the second row. All right, so Nissan understands that the market of the Nissan Patrol is more the executive type, the person who actually wants to get driven instead of driving themselves, or probably would be driving this on a weekend. I don't know. But here, wow, this is definitely very homey. One of the more luxurious, one of the most plush rear second row seats that I have been in quite a while. And look, I'm sitting behind my own natural driving position right here, and I still have loads and loads of leg room. I mean, my knees still have a lot of space to work with. My feet are very comfortable right there. And as I mentioned earlier, your triple zone climate control system actually works very well. Blasts cold air right here, but at the same time, you can actually control the air. And there are vents right there on your feet. So in case your feet are a little warm, you can just change that right there. It's nice. It's fine. All right. You got two USB ports, so two USB-A ports on each side, and a 12-volt socket right there underneath, which puts the count of the 12-volt sockets here to three. One in the front, one in the middle, and one right there in the well, inside the tailgate, which is nice. Now, you've got 13 speakers right here, 13 Bose speakers to work with in a pinch, all right? I can fit four of myself right here. Four. I'm a wide, chunky boy, and I can fit four of myself right here. Not in relative comfort, but again, in a pinch, I could do that. And three of me would be cruising all the way to Baguio in this one. This is definitely absolutely great. The seats are nice. The bench is they're very soft. I mean, it's one of the more supportive bench seats that I've had right here. Although the bench seems to be a little short though, so your knees or your legs might be hanging out a little bit. But I guess the way to rectify that is to sit this way and have your center armrest right there, no problems. And the privacy glass really helps out. I mean, I've been driving this thing for the past few days now, and I've been complaining about the sun and the glare, but I realized that right here in the back, it's very comfortable and nice. You even have these grab handles right here to easily get inside of this thing. Now, finally, my favorite part of the rear here is, again, this table. You can actually access all your cold drinks inside right here. So at the same time, opening up like this is fine. So getting inside is absolutely easy. All you have to do is pull on these latches in the second row seats, and it tumbles forward, and you got all this space to work with. Now, for the test. Oh, it's looking good. Looking good. Let's just recline. Oh, all right. No. Well, let's just say it has enough space for three kids right here in the back. No problems. You can recline these seats as well. You got two headrests though, but there is a middle section for anyone. And plus, you got seat belts there, which means you can definitely sit three people right here in the back. Not people my size though. I am 5'10" and a half, and nope, there's barely any room for my knees and my feet. Well, a lot of headroom though, which is nice. So probably for anyone lower than 5'10" and a half, they can fit right here. In relative comfort. This is fine. This is fine. All right, so we're now behind the wheel of the big boy, the the Nissan Patrol V8. And boy, howdy, you can hear that V8 roar coming from that engine, but more on that later. Power figures, you got 400 horsepower and 560 newton meters of torque, powered by a 7-speed automatic transmission and this four-wheel drive system, which is just, it works very well together to make sure that you've got a comfortable, powerful, and of course, dignified and classy ride. I've got to tell you, when it comes to power delivery, that 5.6 liter V8 engine certainly delivers. Now, as soon as you hit that or step on the accelerator pedal, you definitely would feel that sudden surge of power. But make sure that you just tap on it. Just tap on that accelerator pedal to make sure that you get the most out of your driving experience. So if you got 400 horsepower to use, you don't have to use all of that, especially in a city setting. It's nice to know that you do have enough power and grunt to pull all 3,500 plus kilograms of this thing and more if you fill this up with a lot of people. All right, so when it comes to suspension, apart from having, independent suspension all around, something that you can actually ride on, it feels like you're on a cloud, all that jazz. This has Nissan's hydraulic stability control system, which means it it's doing its best to make sure that body roll through tight corners, through aggressive driving, maybe in the desert. You should do that in the desert, not here. Is kept at a minimum. So even though we're gonna do a U-turn right here, we're gonna do a U-turn. You'll feel that it doesn't really like wobble around, and even my rear passenger right there has been having a good time sitting down. So even though we go through speed bumps, I gotta tell you, this thing eats speed bumps for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, merienda, midnight snack. It just eats them up. This is not one of those cars where you have to slow down for a minor speed bump. It goes over that. It's really tuned more for comfort, but at the same time, it's really something that can take up any road ruts or any imperfections on the road. You know, a lot of people actually use this for going off-roading. Maybe not here in the Philippines, but probably out there in the desert in the Middle East. This one is their staple, their bread and butter, and I can see exactly why. So here we go with the turning radius right here. All right, just doing a fine job. It's got a huge turning radius, but at least body roll is kept at a minimum. There you go. So when it comes to NVH levels, well, again, when it comes to Nissan Patrol, it is above average. Comparing it to mere mid-sized SUVs on the road, it beats them out easily and handily. But I'm actually expecting a whole lot, especially at for a full-size SUV at this price point. So if you compare it to its more expensive, more luxurious competitors, there's some noise that can come out from the outside world inside here, but I was actually expecting more like like a like a noise canceling headphones installed in my head, kind of quiet, which is not. But at least it gives you a little bit more idea of what is around the road for you, and you can hear that V8 engine roar, and the sound permeates through the cabin. It's not gonna sound like a diesel. It's not gonna clatter around, especially when on full send. But it is concerning that for a luxury SUV, or something, an SUV that aims to be a luxury SUV, it's just concerning that you can hear some of that noise. Now, for those saying that the Patrol is definitely showing its age, yeah, I would definitely tend to agree. And this is one of the clues to tell you of its age. A manual foot brake, right there. All right, so guys, let's talk about fuel economy. First of all, let me preface this by saying that the Nissan Patrol has a 140-liter fuel tank. I guess that's the reason why it's so big, so wide and long. That's what she said. Is because it's got a 140-liter fuel tank. So, what does that mean? It can go far, but it's going to come at a cost. City driving in the Nissan Patrol, the best that I could get was around 5 kilometers per liter. On average, I'm getting 4 kilometers per liter. And when it gets heavy, really heavy traffic, it goes down to 3.5, which is for just too much gas to burn in one drive. But if you look at your fuel gauge, it seems like a very fuel efficient car, because right now I've been traveling for a lot of for so long now, and I'm still within. I just finished off 1/4 liter of the tank. Now on the highway, it doesn't get even easier, because on the highway, the best that I can get, that I can give you guys, 10 to 11 kilometers per liter, which is quite sad. But again, people in this market looking for this car aren't really looking for the most fuel efficient. They're not looking for practicality when it comes to, again, fuel efficiency. They're looking for power, looking for class, they're looking for comfort. And again, I'm going back to that word gravitas, and right here, this is everything that it can offer. And if you think about it, if you got enough cash to pony up for this car, gas shouldn't be a problem, right? Right? Right now, while we're stopped, I want to go ahead and talk about the safety features of the Nissan Patrol. As you've been hearing a lot, it does have proximity sensors all around, because it wants to make sure that no motorcycles, no other cars are going too near you. In fact, you'll be getting a video feed of that, making sure that you're safe and sound. I usually turn that off when it comes to other cars, but in here, it's fine. Again, you got multiple airbags. You've got Nissan Intelligent Mobility, which is their suite of active and passive safety features, and most importantly, it has adaptive cruise control. But it also has a lot more. You got the 360-degree camera system, you got lane keep assist, lane departure warning, forward collision mitigation systems, as well as rear cross traffic alert and blind spot monitoring systems. So you got the works. That's fine. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing for the Nissan Patrol starts at 4,758,000 pesos. Now, at first glance, sure, that sounds a little bit steep if you're looking, if you're in the market for a more mid-sized SUV and whatnot. But remember, what you're getting with this one, you're getting more metal for the peso than any other car out there at the moment. I mean, if you compare this to its competition, which is really not that much, not a lot. The only thing that I can compare this to right now is probably the Land Cruiser, the Toyota Land Cruiser, and that car actually costs a whole lot more than this one, about north of 5 million or whatnot at this moment, if you can get one at the moment. But this one, at that price point, it pretty much sounds like a steal. Plus, you get that wonderful V8 engine under the hood, which, to be honest, not a lot of midsize or even full-size SUVs are getting these days. A lot of them are slowly transitioning to turbocharged V6s or, God forbid, hybrids or even electrics. And I'm glad that Nissan still has still has the cojones to put a V8 in this really large SUV, because it knows that there's no replacement for displacement. The full-size SUV segment is the one particular segment in the car market where size absolutely matters, not just with the exterior dimensions or the interior space, but with engine as well. And that's something that Nissan absolutely believes with this particular iteration of the Nissan Patrol with its huge hulking V8. I absolutely love the power, but I did not love the fuel economy that it has. But thankfully, it has a large enough fuel tank so that it can get you wherever you need to go and back without any problems. It's just that you're going to have to take out a small business loan for you to do that. But I want to know what you think. Drop me a comment in the comment section down below, and while you're at it, subscribe to our channel and hit that notification icon so you wouldn't miss any of our videos. This has been Roy Robles from Zigwheels.Ph. I'll see you guys next time.